Hey guys, Midget here and welcome to my review of The Walking Dead Season 5 Episode 3, Four Walls Without a Roof. Wow. Okay guys, so this in my opinion was one of the best episodes to date. I don't know what it was about exactly, like, to make it one of the best, because obviously you've got so many episodes that are really good, like Too Far Gone and stuff, and I don't know, because it's sort of unsurprising. Well, no, it's sort of surprising, I should say, because you didn't expect it, an episode, just a random episode, you know, a mid-season finale. You'd expect it to be badass because it's to finish something off, but it's just a random episode chucked in there, and there's so much badassery and some really sick things happening in here. You just catches you off guard. And if you missed this episode, because obviously some people can miss this episode because like, oh, it's episode 3, it's in the middle of a season, it wouldn't be that important, and what happens is you end up bloody missing a huge chunk of the show through some random episodes. So yeah, it catches you off guard. It starts off like zooming in on the hunters and the termites eating Bob, and I mean, I didn't really care. I was like just watching it, but some people might get squeamish and feel sick because of something like that. Obviously, I'm not really squeamish, so it wouldn't really bother me. But it's weird how Gareth knows about the whole Carol and Daryl thing, that how he knows that they've gone after someone and he's gonna eat them and stuff like that, and saying that he prefers women over men because of the like fat layer, because women can get pregnant and something. I was like, Jesus Christ, you know a lot about cannibalism there, brother. So it's not very nice. It creeps you out sort of. But I mean, again, I wasn't bothered. I was like, cool. That's very cool from you, brother. And yeah, it's also sort of weird how he knows everybody's name from Rick's group. He's like, when he walks into the church, he's like, Baby Judith, Carl, Carol, you know, he's like Rosita and Abraham and Eugene. I'm like, how the hell do you know this? You don't really talk to him, but again, he is a bit of like a talkative guy, so maybe he talked to him like between season 3 and 4. He just managed to, like, one day passed or something, he managed to go into the cabin and be like, what's your name or something. Might have happened, might have not happened, just a little prediction thing. But Bob tells like the people, he's like, he like loses his mind. He just laughs. He starts crying and then laughs, and he's like, I'm bit, you fools, and it's really funny. And everyone goes like mad, going all bulimic, yes, I'm sure. He go yeah and stuff, and it's funny how he just laughing his head off, and Gareth's like, you didn't check him, blah, 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 blah. And then he just knocks him out because he was so annoying. He was like, ha ha ha, you idiots, blah blah blah, and then he just gets like a boot to the face and gets knocked out, and then the credits start to play. So that was a very eventful before credit thing, and the group then is looking for Bob after the credits, and obviously you have that really cliche thing where you zoom in, you like stare at one way, stare the other way, you stare back and there's a zombie. It's very cliche, very predictable that something's gonna be there, and Sasha gets jumped, but thankfully to her rescue Rick is there. And then they start blaming Father Gabriel for like for the disappearance of Bob, because they don't trust him, but they get him to like talk, and he just ends up opening and says that he didn't let people into the church, and that's why the you'll die for this or you'll burn for this or something is outside the church, that little carved into the church thing. He said that's why it's there, and like breaks down and cries, and everybody puts their guns away because they, you know, feel that he has nothing to do with it. He was like, I don't have anything to do with it. And then when they said start speaking, obviously it was not what they were expecting to hear, so they know that he has nothing to do with it. But then the termites stump Bob by the church, and Bob tells everyone what happens. For example, like that they started eating him and he's bitten, and yeah, it's just a really unpleasant scene. Like he says, it's Gareth. They know about Carol and Daryl, and that they escaped and stuff, and shows everybody his bite, which is not nice to see. everyone really being sad. And then Gabriel's like just in the background, you can have my sofa, and Sasha thanks him for that, which is nice to see that finally Gabriel's getting some respect, because he's not a bad man, is he? He's very quiet, he's very shy. He's a good man in general, but you know, he's scared, so that's the only downfall to him, really. But they sort of start believing him, like, then at that point are like, okay, we've heard your story, I know what you're hiding now, and not really much to it really after that. But Abraham like wants to leave, and Rick wants to go and fight, and they get into an argument, and basically Tara, Maggie and Glenn decide to go with him to Washington, but Rick doesn't want them to take the bus, as it's all the groups, and then get into a mini argument, and Glenn is like the guy that breaks everything up, but basically like what's the word, Rick and Abraham argue, and Abraham's like, come and fight me if you want the bus, and Rick, after waiting like there about like 30 seconds, he just goes up to him and goes for the fight, but Glenn is there and breaks the fight up, and then the group like make a plan. The Glenn basically after that just stops everyone and makes them good again. I didn't explain that very well, but yeah, and then the group make a plan to attack the hunters first, and Sasha tells Tyreese, because she's talking to Bob, because she wants to go and like after Tyreese trying to like talk her out of fighting the termites, she said, have my knife, and when I return, I mean, just when Bob stops breathing, because Tyreese obviously isn't much of a fighter, obviously he looks like one, but he's don't really like fighting, so she says, I'm going to take it out on the hunters. Now you stay here with Bob. Once he stops breathing, just like knife his chest and let him rest in peace, etc. And then that's the first break, I believe. Yes, it is, I think. Then the Hunters and Rick's group like walk straight past each other. Like you see the Hunter group just going into the church, and Rick's group leaving. I was like, oh God. Don't say that you just gave them the slip. It was like, oh my God, what's going to happen now? Because you obviously see who's in the church, and it's like Carl, Judith, all the vulnerable people. Obviously have Bob, Tyreese could fight, but all he does is have a knife. But then you have also Abraham, Rosita and Eugene there, but Abraham will do anything to protect Eugene, really. So you basically only have two fighters in that whole group. Yeah, two fighters. No, you also have Michonne, I believe. Can't really remember. But yeah, if not Michonne, you only have two real fighters there with Rosita and Abraham, as Tyreese you don't really classify anymore, does he? So you're going to get outnumbered by 6 in Gareth's group, including him. But like the group inside get ready for attack, and Judith starts crying and gives away their position, and just as he's about to enter, you know, obviously he wastes a lot of time by bloody talking random stuff like, come on priest, you can take baby Judith and you can leave this place, and he's there with his rosary beads like praying. Don't know what about, but just in time, obviously a little bit of cliche that the group just in time, just perfectly in time, returns, and like Gareth gets shot in the hand, I believe, and it gets blown off, and everyone, the group just can't catch his group off guard, and Rick tells them to kneel down and, you know, give up their weapons, and everybody does that except Martin, and I don't understand why Martin specifically did that. I don't know what he had. Maybe we see that he's got his eye busted, but I don't know why he did that specifically. But all we know is that he was opposing to do it, and Tyreese didn't say anything to anybody in the episode, so it's kind of weird. But then like Gareth starts creeping out Rick, and the viewers also saying that just let us go, we'll never meet each other, and starts talking about cannibalism again. And Rick ends up just saying, if you're not going to find us, but you're going to find some other people, and that's what you're going to do, to you're going to eat them also. And Gareth's like, you don't know what hunger is, and starts talking this random stuff, and then Rick gets angry and starts mashing this. Oh my god, he just smashes like Gareth with a machete like loads of times. The first one just went straight through him there, and then you just see all this blood spurting out and stuff, and then you see Abraham with the assault rifle, submachine gun, I don't even know, mashing out the other group, and Sasha just into Martin, which was just amazing. I was like, yes, the hunters have died, thank you. And basically that's how it ends. And then like once everybody's out, you know, obviously have the like Michonne, Glenn, and Rosita, I believe, are just standing back and like, whoa, what the hell's happened here? And I didn't know what that was about. Did Glenn and Maggie like not mature, but just not that like think that is a bit too far now, but nevertheless didn't say it. And then like Father Gabriel comes out and says this is the God's house, and that's where we hear the title being said, as Maggie says, no, this isn't the Father's house anymore, it's 4 walls and a roof. And it sounded like she had no remorse and no pity for the people, which obviously wouldn't have, you know, they're killing random people. But also another highlight of this was that Michonne got a katana back, which was nice to see. But then that's the last break, I believe, before the end of the show. I think it was. I'm just thinking off the top of my head here. But then after the break, like you'll see the group say goodbye to Bob, and Bob says like, thank you to Rick for letting him in the group, as he's never seen, he didn't think once he left his former group that there's still good people left in the world. And it was a really emotional scene. Like, I didn't cry or anything, but it was a really emotional scene, and for more like feminine viewers, I guess, would that maybe drop a tear, I think, because it was a really sad scene. You know, you obviously don't like seeing people die or go away from this show. You know, once you get so close to a character, you just don't want to see them go away from the show. But what you gonna do? It's the zombie apocalypse. Anyone can die, and Bob, it had to be Bob. I mean, I'm glad it's Bob rather than like Glenn or someone, but it's still bad enough. He's an alright character, he's an alright guy. Obviously he had his fair share of mistakes, but then in the long run he was an alright guy. But he also says two words that caught my ears, and they were never change, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. You're your sound, Bob. And then we basically just go straight cuts to Sasha talking to him, and he starts talking about how he was smiling because in his dream Sasha was smiling at him, so he smiled back. And while she was talking to him, he passed away, and Sasha starts crying. I thought he was going to like just stand up and grab her, but obviously it's not that. You don't do it that fast. Like I remember in season 1 where Andrea and her sister Amy, I believe it was, she like came back, and it took like 30 seconds for her sister to like grab onto her arm. So it would be long. I remember it was like 8 hours she waited. So, but still, I thought you'd like come back. But nevertheless, Tyreese then walks in and takes the knife off of Sasha, and then just kills Bob basically very, very slowly. He just slides the knife into his head sideways, and yeah, and that's how the end of Bob occurred. But then the next day they make Bob a grave outside the church, and Abraham and his group plus Maggie and Glenn and Tara decide to leave. And I was like, oh no, I didn't really want to see Glenn and Maggie leave, because it's just going to be really awkward. You know, I mean, they've been there from the start. Glenn's been there from season 1, and Maggie's been there since season 2, so it's going to be kind of awkward seeing them not with Rick's group and seeing Rick groups together. But then it skips to like the night, and Michonne and Gabriel are outside talking about they cannot sleep and stuff, and then they hear a sound outside, and Michonne goes to investigate, and I was like, I was like really scared, but then it turns out it was just Daryl, and Michonne's like smiled, and she's happy to see him, but he's not so much happy to see her, and she's like, where's Gareth? And then it ends on a goddamn cliffhanger. I hate these things because you have to wait a bloody week to find out what it was, and he's just there like, come out. And I was like, oh god. Oh, as soon as the credits started playing, I was like so angry because I hate cliffhangers, man. That's what I was really, really scared of that in Too Far Gone. Like, imagine, I had in the back of my head, like, imagine, for example, Daryl shot, not this specifically, but imagine Daryl shot something at the governor, and it just ended there for the mid-season finale. In the episode after it killed him, I was like, I can't wait that long to find out what happens. And this is sort of the same thing, but on just smaller scale. I don't really want to know. I really want to know now. I don't want to wait till next week. But for God's sake, this is what makes The Walking Dead so awesome. But yeah, this episode was, Jesus Christ, it was suspenseful. It had 2 character deaths and a load of drama. Obviously, we had 3 main character deaths if you count Gareth, because he was a main character sort of, wasn't he? And also that ending, that cliffhanger ending, goddammit. That's why I'm going to give this episode a 9 out of 10. It was easily one of the best episodes in The Walking Dead. I think I gave Too Far Gone a 10. This I was thinking about giving it a 10, but I was like, see, now I'm contemplating giving it a 10. It was an amazing episode, so I'm just going to stick with a 9 now. No point in changing it. It could have had some upgrades, I guess, more action. I mean, there was a load of action, but I'm just saying, if to get a 10, maybe more action, I don't know, more character development, maybe. So I'm just stating the thingy, because I'm contemplating giving it a 10 now, but just stay with a 9, so 9 out of 10. But now going on to the questions, there's not really much questions I had in this episode, but what is going to happen to Gabriel? Because obviously the group aren't going to stay in the church for very long, let's be honest. They're going to, Abraham gave Rick the map to go to Washington, so obviously maybe by the mid-season finale, Rick's going to be leaving the church. So is Gabriel going to be staying, or is he going to like have some character development and turn into a more less shy and less scared character like Carol developed, maybe on a short scale, maybe not I'm not saying like into a full-on badass, but just enough to get away from his robes and, sorry, not robes, like his suit, and like start being like a really full-on Christian, and just walk out the church. And yeah, so I don't know what's going to happen to him. I hope he goes with the group, because I think he's a really sound, I like the character himself. And the other thing is, who is Daryl talking to? What is Daryl meaning, and what could have happened? So I was just thinking, like is it some other people, like some other bad guys that can take us to the mid-season finale, for example, like because it was leaked that the hunters were meant to be going till the mid-season finale, and that would keep us going until the mid-season finale, as like the bad guys is the entertainment type thing, an entertainment factor of the show. But now obviously we can't have it, so we can't just have no bad guys, because it would be like less entertaining. So is it going to be some new bad guys that basically some new bad guys that just take us to the mid-season finale and stop there? Is it the people from Beth's place? Because obviously they went for Daryl and Carol went to that car and just followed that car. Is it some people from Beth's place? But then even I saw in a comment on Twitter that it could even be Morgan, and I was like, oh god, yeah, it could, because remember, Morgan doesn't know Daryl and Carol, so he could be leading them to their place. But then I was thinking, wouldn't he be a bit outnumbered, wouldn't you say, when he walked in there? Obviously, you could just hostage Daryl, but it could be Morgan, which I'm hoping it is, because once he reunites with Rick, it'll be amazing to see. And he'd fill in that Bob spot as one person dies, one person comes in, but maybe he's completely forgotten Rick or something, I don't know, because I'm sure he saw Rick and then carried on going for him, I don't know, but whatever. And yeah, that's basically it. I just want to say that he is also very unsocial. So he would not talk to Daryl. He just, you know, get on with the shooting thing. As he's completely lost his mind. To be fair, he's got nothing to live for anymore. But yeah, this has been a really, really long episode. Sorry guys, but hopefully you enjoyed this episode, guys. If you do, make sure to give this episode a like. And yeah, so this Midget, I'm going to see you guys in the next episode. Peace out.